Hey everybody, I'm Pastor Bill from Open Door Baptist Church in Morehead City, and thanks for coming back for another word of encouragement. These are weekday videos that we're putting out as a tool, really, to give you and me something to take our focus and our attention off of the little snippets of despair and discouragement that are constantly bombarding our senses from the world, and to instead put our steady and stable focus and attention back onto God's words of encouragement, His lasting and eternal words in the Bible. And today we're going to look at some of those words coming out of 1 Chronicles chapter 17. At this point in the reign of David, Israel is at rest, and David is the king, and he decides to build a temple for God. Up until this point, all of the worship has been centered around the tabernacle, that mobile tent that houses the Ark of the Covenant. And at this point, David finally says, well, now is the time to build a stable and physical building, a magnificent building that is the temple that will be in one place and will be a place where all of Israel and really all God-fearers can come and worship Him in truth. And so at this point, we read a very interesting response to David's promise to God to build him a house, a spiritual house, a temple. This is how God replies to David through his prophet Nathan. He says, "This is what the Lord of hosts says. I took you from the pasture and from following the sheep to be a ruler over my people Israel. I have been with you wherever you have gone, and I have destroyed all your enemies before you. I will make a name for you like that of the greatest in the land. I will establish a place for my people Israel and plant them so that they may live there and not be disturbed again. Evildoers will not continue to oppress them as they formerly have ever since the day I ordered judges to be over my people Israel. I will also subdue all your enemies. Furthermore, I declare to you that the Lord Himself will build a house for you. When your time comes to be with your fathers, I will raise up after you your descendant, who is one of your own sons, and I will establish his kingdom. He will build a house for me, and I will establish his throne forever. I will be a father to him, and he will be a son to me. I will not take away my faithful love from him, as I took it from the one who was before you. I will appoint him over my house and my kingdom forever, and his throne will be established forever." Well, as prophecy often does, this prophecy has a near fulfillment and a far fulfillment. The near fulfillment, of course, is in David's son Solomon, who did indeed build God a house, a temple, right, a spiritual house for worship. But what God is also promising through Nathan, the prophet, to David is that He, God, the Lord, will build David a house. But that type of house that God is talking about here is a legacy, a household that will endure forever. This is the same type of promise that God gave to Abraham when He said, "Your offspring will be innumerable, more than the stars in the heaven." And now God is coming back to David. He said, no, you're not going to build for me a physical house. I am going to build for you an eternal household. And at the top of that household, as a ruler, will be Jesus, the forever King. His throne will be established for all eternity. But also, did you notice that God returns to one of His favorite themes at the beginning of this prophecy, where He reminds David that David was a lowly and humble shepherd. As a matter of fact, the way that God puts it is that David was following sheep And God took him to be a leader and a ruler of all of his people. That is a common theme that God loves to point out. He loves to take the lowly baby lying in hay in a manger, too poor even to find a proper place for his head. And yet he takes that lowly one and he exalts him to be the king, the eternal king of all the universe.